Good afternoon. Thank you all again for joining us for today's Forage demo. I'm David Powers, Assistant Director of Internships at UTA's Career Development Center. I'm joined this afternoon by Forage's Head of Educational Partnerships, Harrison. Harrison, I hope is it Bass?
Yes.
Okay, I should have clarified that before we got started. Harrison Bass. Just to give you a quick overview of what Forage is. Forage provides free virtual assignments developed by recognized companies to help students sharpen their skills and better understand the work culture. The courses are typically 5 to 6 hours in length, and most provide a certificate of completion. What we are really excited about in the Career Development Center is Forage seems to be a great platform to provide experience and resume building opportunities for international students, which is really cool. And we hope that you find the platform and the courses a valuable resource in the classroom as well. We think there's a lot of application there, which of course Harrison is going to break down for us. So he'll take us through the platform and answer your questions at the end of the presentation. Just a reminder that we are recording this session, and we'll share this in our weekly internship newsletter. And just another heads up and kind of housekeeping, we're going to have another demo for faculty and staff on Thursday, September the 28th, and we'll also have a student demo on Thursday, October the 19th. With that, I'll turn it over to Harrison, please.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for having me here. It is great to meet all of you. I'm Harrison. I lead the University Partnerships team here at Forage. So I work closely with our university partners, so career centers, faculty, deans, provost chairs, to really help them think through best practices for leveraging Forage both inside and outside of the classroom. What is Forage? We create free open access job simulations. We build these simulations directly in partnership with our employer partners. So we distill down both the technical skills as well as the professional skills needed to thrive on the job, typically within an entry-level role at these employers. We work directly with the hiring managers, the talent acquisition leaders, to create these project-based asynchronous experiences. These are completely asynchronous, so they can be completed at the student's own pace. They range typically from 2 to 5 hours to complete, depending on the number of tasks included in each simulation. And again, they're really intended to help students understand what the world of work looks like, how their skills would be applied, and then ultimately helps them really connect what they're learning in the classroom to potential career pathways. What we have increasingly seen is that faculty members are leveraging Forage as a project, as a homework assignment directly in the classroom. This is a really great way to provide experiential learning opportunities for all students. Not every student, of course, has the time to try out these simulations, and when it's used in the coursework, it's a great way to give students that time in that space. And then it's also a really great way to link what you're teaching academically to real-world applications on the job at leading employers. In terms of our focus areas, we have simulations ranging from accounting with the Big Four. Apologies. What page? There we go. Accounting with the Big Four. We have KPMG, Ryan as well. These range from auditing to property tax to sustainability to digital assurance to tax. We have simulations in banking and financial services with leading employers, JP Morgan, Prudential, Citibank. We have simulations in client services and consulting, data science, design, engineering with GE Aerospace. We have simulations focusing on supply chain. We have simulations in life sciences with Thermo Fisher and Pfizer, insurance for students who might be interested in pursuing that pathway. We even have simulations that are focused on interview and career skill. So anything from unspoken interview fundamentals to using Excel with JP Morgan. We have simulations in cybersecurity, sales with PepsiCo and Red Bull and HP and Bloomberg. And again, these are all designed and developed directly in partnership with our employer partners. So for students, they're able to really see behind the scenes what it would look like from both a project experience of what it would look like to work at these employers. The reason why Forage is free is because our employer partners are paying Forage to create these simulations. For them, this is a really direct way to better inform early talent about their expectations, what these roles and responsibilities look like for specific career pathways. It's also a great way for them to cultivate a talent pipeline for the future. So what that means is if a student opts in to being visible in the system, they can choose to do so. Visibility means that the employer would see their name, their email, and the university that they're coming from, their region, and whether or not they completed a simulation with the employer. They're not evaluating or assessing students' work, and they're not using student work for any purposes. For them, of course, this is a way to see who is that highly intent motivated candidate, and they'll share out opportunities to those students ranging from hiring events to job fairs to internship application deadlines. And again, that's completely opt-in for students. What I'll be showing you all here is a behind the scenes glimpse into the Forage platform from a student perspective. And then of course, I would be able to show you the educator perspective and how it's used on college campuses across the country. That being said, before I do so, I know that we're recording this session, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And if you have any questions that you think your colleagues might have, please feel free to ask on their behalf. Before I jump into the student demo, does anyone have any questions on what I just covered? Any questions here? Oh, all right. So let me show you all the student view. So this here is Lululemon omnichannel marketing. This is a great fit for students who perhaps they're business majors, perhaps they're thinking about a career in marketing or sales or even project management. This simulation is developed directly with Lululemon. What the student will be doing in this simulation is laid out here. So they're going to be developing an integrated marketing plan. They're going to think through the digital transformation of the retail guest experience. They're going to identify marketing ambassadors and even use data to drive marketing decisions. So coming into it, this is what it looks like. You're going to see here an overview of each specific task. For the first task, this is the basic structure and what our simulations look like. So the student is going to get instructions on their task. They're going to hear from an employee who works on this team. He's going to give them insight into his job, a day in the life, and what's going to be expected of you. What you're doing is you're developing a marketing plan for an at-home fitness platform called Mirror. You can use Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Google Docs. It's open access and it's intentionally designed to be as flexible as possible for students. These are some of the questions that you should be answering, but you're not limited to that. It should take you about an hour. It's just a good way for you to know the pace expected of you on the job. And then the resources to help you along the way are all linked here. If a student gets stuck, their manager will certainly encourage them to take the time to do their own research before coming to them, and this is what we're helping the students do here. Lastly, when the student submits their work, it automatically unlocks an example answer that allows them to compare their work with with essentially the work that was done by an employee at Lululemon. So they can see that employee's thought process, why they approached it a certain way, and for students, it's a great way to compare their work, see how it lines up. Many instructors will either have their students complete a reflection exercise comparing their work with the example answer. They may decide to have their students submit one of the tasks to them directly for assessment, or of course, the majority of faculty will have their students, if you're looking to assess their learnings, complete a reflection journaling exercise or a short presentation detailing the work that they did, their learnings, and their next steps. Faculty are not able to see individual work in the back end of the Forage platform. Some do request that students submit work to them directly, but of course they do have to submit their work through Forage in order to move forward to the next task. and ultimately earn their certificate. That certificate can be included on their resume. They're automatically sent this referencing toolkit. It can be included on their resume under certifications, added to LinkedIn. They can even, of course, post on LinkedIn, tag the company. It's a great way to stand out to recruiters, and even think about how they can use Forage in their interview process. We have found historically over time that students that complete Forage simulations with our employer partners are twice as likely to receive interview offers, primarily because they are signaling to the company and the recruiters that they have taken the time ahead of time to really learn more deeply about the role, and that's indicating to that recruiter that they're a high intent, motivated candidate. So of course, it's not guaranteeing a job, but it certainly helps students stand out to these companies. Not to say that this is only a tool for securing internship or full-time opportunities. This certainly is the space for learning and exploration. Students are not being assessed on their work by companies, and of course, they can try out as many simulations as they would like. There's no limit to the number that they can explore, and they don't have to complete a simulation before trying out a different one. So that's the student view. Does anyone have any questions on that specific aspect?
Hi. Yes, I have a question. So my name is Rebecca Dean. I'm the Associate Dean in the College of Liberal Arts. So this is super interesting. And thank you for the information that you've shared. Does, once a university opts in, is a student limited in any way to the number of case studies that they can try? Do they have, what kinds of limits are placed on the student in terms of the volume that they can do within your platform, or maybe the time that they have, that it's accessible to them for a semester or some finite piece of time? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. There's no limits. This is a completely free open access platform. So they can try out as many simulations as they would like. They could return to a simulation a year later and finish their work. There's no time limit set on each individual task or each individual project. The duration here that's included is essentially a way for students to understand the pace that their manager would expect for them to be working at if they were working on the job. So it's not timed, it's just a way for students to get an understanding of what that pace looks like. And there's no limit to how many simulations a student can sign up for.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Of course. And of course, in the arts and sciences, what we're seeing is that there's many students who are gravitating towards simulations that leverage their written communication, professional communication, project management skills. So strategy consulting can be a really great fit for students in the arts and sciences. Client research, problem identification. We, of course, have a large number of simulations in the legal space. So perhaps for students who might be interested in law school, we do have a really wide variety of options here. Anything focused from litigation to climate change law, commercial law, and then of course, marketing, sales, a number of different pathways that we found students in the liberal arts gravitating towards. Any other questions? Okay, so every faculty member, every staff member at your university is able to sign up as an educator. This is completely free. By signing up as an educator, you will automatically be linked to your home institution. You will be able to access your university's dashboard, where you'll be able to track students enrolled and completions over time, high-level student demographic information. You'll also have the ability to create your own custom class page. This is just a demo link, demo page, but what that looks like is essentially this, right? So if I wanted to create a landing page for the College of Arts and sciences, I can do so. I can label it accordingly. Or say, for example, we have a number of faculty who use Forage in introductory coursework. So students who are just starting off to explore their careers, I can title it Intro to Business, totally up to me. I can brand it with my own background image, my own logo, and then to add simulations to my page, I simply just navigate to here. I'll click select. These are automatically added to my page. I will update my page accordingly. And then just to send this to my student, say I want to include it as a link within my LMS or perhaps within my syllabus, all I have to do is take this link and share it with my students. What they will see essentially is this. So the benefit of approaching it this way is that you can curate what your students are seeing initially when they sign up with Forage. You can specifically tell them, please select one of these 3 simulations to complete, and then you'll be able to track engagement over time. Of course, many faculty will have their students submit their certificate of completion and the reflection exercise as a way to track engagement, but you'll also be able to do so through your dashboard. A few examples of what that looks like are included here, right? So we have Baruch College here in New York. This is their College of Business. These are the specific simulations that they've selected. We have UC Merced. This is through their Career Center specific simulations as well. NYU, this is how they're using Forage. And then, of course, we have here Stony Brook University. This is through their College of Business as well. So great way for students to get that more curated experience, and faculty can really curate it. We've seen departments have a landing page that all professors use. We've seen individual professors create their own landing page. It is meant to be flexible for you to use as you see fit. Any questions here?
Yes, Harrison, I was curious. You may get to this, but I was wondering how often new content is provided and kind of what that looks like.
Sure. So we are typically adding between 3 to 5 new simulations a month. It does depend on our employer partners, but our catalog is a living catalog, right? So we're always adding new simulations. If a company decides to update or pull a specific simulation, we will give our university partners at least 2 months advance notice. And typically that would not happen during the actual semester.
Thank you.
Any other questions here? So for those of you who might be interested in using Forage with your students in the classroom, what I'm going to do is I will include our sign-up link. This is a really great way to explore the back end of Forage, get an understanding of what it looks like from an educator perspective. It is also a great way to stay up to date. So when you sign up as an educator, you'll be able to learn more information about new programs that we're launching. Of course, you'll also be able to create a custom landing page if you would choose to do so. But I'd certainly encourage you to sign up as an educator using that link over here. And again, this is a completely free platform, no cost involved. Any questions?
Hello, Harrison. Let me turn it up here. Hi, I have a quick question. My name is Zipporah. I am one of the career consultants here at our career development office. And my question for you is, do you have any suggestions for staff or as a career consultant how to promote Forage or outside of like the faculty route of it, but how would I promote this to students, meeting with students one-on-one? What would be your suggestions on that?
Yeah, absolutely. One, of course, you can direct them towards just the general Career Center landing page. David, I believe, will be able to point you to that page. You're also able to, we have collateral that you're welcome to use. I'm happy to send it over after this call. So student impact collateral, as well as our marketing toolkit. What we have seen other career centers do as well is, I'm sure that there's overlap between our course catalog and the employers that you work with. So if you're having career fairs on campus and say Accenture or JP Morgan is coming onto campus, I would highly recommend students that sign up for those events complete a Forage simulation before going to those in-person events. It is a great way for them to demonstrate their interest to the recruiter, and it's also just a great way for them to understand what these jobs will actually look like and help them develop better questions. So I would say, as you're thinking about the fall career fair, internship fair season, absolutely encouraging students to use Forage beforehand.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Harrison.
Of course. Any thoughts or questions that I can help answer here? I'm curious who, perhaps if you're an instructor, if you teach a course, or you're affiliated on the academic side, who here is thinking that this might be a good opportunity for your students?
Hello. My name is Felicia Stanford, and I am the Director of Diversity, Racial Equity, and Inclusion. And we have a program that's called Rise Academy, where we have 21 students. We started our inaugural academy this past spring, and I see a lot of ways in which this would be great for our students, our cohort of students. Right now we're doing workshops for them, and we can integrate this into our program. And I love the simulations. I love that it's, there's a reflection piece, and what else was it? Oh, free access. I mean, that piece of it too. So I think it'll benefit them really well.
Excellent.
I could add that we've already created a career development center course. So we're going to be taking a look at the content that we've added there. I just wanted to share that it was very, very easy to set up and use. Harrison showed you it's not much more complicated than what you saw in the walkthrough. You title the course. If you want, you can change the background graphic, and then you just select the courses. It's very, very simple to get set up. And something I was sort of surprised and impressed by, we already have almost 900 UTA students using this platform, or have at least logged in some way or other. And we are tracking the number of students that we see visiting the Career Center course. So that dashboard is really handy. I guess one question I might have about the dashboard, anytime you start to look at data, it always leads to more questions, right? So I was curious if you guys have any plans to get a little more granular with some of the data that you might be sharing.
Yes, we do. Those are certainly a part of our product roadmap. Part of that is, that our product team is certainly balancing adding new to the student experience, but from the educator perspective, what we're long-term working towards is incorporating more direct student feedback into the dashboard. So essentially, students are able to complete pre and post feedback for their experiences, and we are going to be incorporating that into our dashboard. Part of the idea here is that we do want to empower our university partners to be able to actually conduct on their own end a case study experience, right, where you can actually evaluate your students' learning, their confidence, whether or not they developed practical skills, and then be able to build essentially your own case study and essentially be able to evaluate your impact.
Thank you. And I just wanted to everyone to note that I've placed some resources in the chat, some links to the educator's guide, the student guide, one pager, I think, Forage overview. And then if you've not signed up for our weekly newsletter, I wanted folks to know that we're promoting Forage in our weekly internship newsletter. We'd love to have you sign up for that as well. I thought we may have another question.
Oh, I was just going to give a comment that in liberal arts, we have, will be year 2 of an initiative to, we call it launch, as in launch our students into postgraduate success, where we are trying to help them be more capable of communicating to potential employers the skills that we know we're giving them in the classroom. We find that a lot of our students, when you kind of get down to the sort of B+ student and below, that they just don't necessarily have the skills to be able to say, to translate from what they did in the classroom to what employers need. So this is really attractive, and I'm looking forward to going through the resources that David, you put in the chat. So I appreciate this demonstration a whole bunch.
Absolutely. And we have a number of simulations that are focused on developing an elevator pitch, telling your personal story in interviews, refining your resume. So I think there's certainly alignment, and of course going through Forage would be beneficial. David, I'll send you as well our skills index, which includes the behind the scenes view, the demo links for each simulation. I believe you may have that already. If not, I'm happy to send that over.
Thank you. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to see it again. If you could, that would be great. I'd be happy to share that. And that was going to be my next question in terms of if anyone had any follow-up questions, the best way to reach out. I'm happy to respond to questions. I've included my email in the chat, but I didn't know, Harrison, if you guys had a content expert contact that we could reach out to, because I'm certainly not an expert at this point. So.
Sure. No, of course. As everyone is getting started, the first step, absolutely sign up as an educator. That link posted in the chat. And then you're welcome to reach out to me directly. I'm going to post my email in the chat. If you would like to schedule an onboarding call to get your class page set up, we're happy to do so. And certainly, fall semester is right around the corner. It does take just 5 minutes to get started with Forage. So we'd be happy to be a resource for you as you're getting started here.
Excellent. Any other questions before we wrap things up? I guess we're at that point. All right. Harrison, before we go, is there anything else you'd like to add? If you have colleagues that might be interested, again, we're hosting another session towards the end of September. David will be, of course, advertising that to the broader faculty. If you're looking to have, Forage presented within your department, perhaps in a department meeting, we can do an abbreviated 10, 15-minute demo as well. Happy to work with you all. But yeah, you'll see here the 28th of September, and then we're hosting a demo for students on October 19th. Thanks again, Harrison, for your time. Great presentation. Really appreciate it. Excited to share with students.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone.
Have a great afternoon. Good luck
care.
this semester.
Bye.